I've been thinking about this for a long time and think that the three most influential vocations in our country are teaching, journalism, and I used to think pastoring, sorry, but now I think it's Hollywood. And I think those three things influence the way we think and look at the world on so many levels. So if those three things are the most influential, then I think the big question becomes, how do we approach them? And that's why I think it's really important to train up young journalists who are solid in their theology and who are solid in their writing skills and who have a vision for telling the truth in stories that serves their community, that serves the work, that becomes a voice for the voiceless. And so I think we can't ignore that, and we really need to get a vision for what journalism could be, because we're all affected. We want to know things, and boy, do we have access to the news on lots of levels now. So how do we cut through that? How do we view the news? How do we, when there's so much available to us, what kind of lens are we taking to it? How do we learn how to read it? How does that affect us? And how can we then also affect those who are involved in it? And I think part of that duty could be, here's a radical thought, what would happen if we started praying for reporters?
We do need to be prudent about how we consume media. So I would say, by all means, censor your reading or your media consumption. And here are the ways I would censor my media consumption. Fewer moving pictures, more text. So read more media and watch less television. I would emphasize reading difficult things rather than easy things. And I would emphasize reading people who disagree with each other rather than only people who reinforce, like you said, our prejudices. So basically for most evangelicals, that means less Fox media, more other media. I said to a student at Gordon College this week, one of the things I would recommend is identify 4 or 5 commentators on our public life who really disagree with one another, but who have the appearance of being authentic and trustworthy and actually doing some research, before they say what they think. And then read those people regularly and compare what they say, and then begin to make judgments out of a framework that hopefully you acquire out of a congregation like this, to begin to think about, so what do I think about this, that, and the other, rather than just slotting into a rut of opinion and sticking to that. And then the last thing I would say is, don't just read politics, read sports and read the arts. Yeah.